All right, guys, we are back. Thank you so much for clicking play. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are amazing. All right, we about to check out some more Jesse Lee Peterson, only because this dude has pissed me off twice. And once in each of my last 2 videos I checked out of his, and he had me dying laughing because I like him. I actually really do like his interviewing style. I just think sometimes, you know, like when you're doing a dance and you really in the groove. Oh yeah. And then you go to do that one move, that one, I don't know if it's a spin. I don't know if you're dropping it like it's hot, you're coming back up. I don't know if it's a split. Some people would still break down with the split. I don't know what it is, but sometimes you're not going to land that big move. And sometimes Jesse Lee Peterson has did that and surprised the hell out of me. Like, whoa, I was with you for 90% of the video. And what happened? Bruh. Calm down, bring it down a little bit, just a little bit. So he can get a little nuts with his stuff. Y'all might not agree with it, but that's just from what I see. All right. So we about to check it out together, and we about to judge him together. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna judge him like a good Christian would do. We gotta judge somebody.
But let's go back to sin. As a Christian, give me other examples, a couple other.
Look at God. Look at God. I said, as a Christian, and God made somebody else say Christian right after. All right, I ain't gonna stop preaching.
Examples of sin.
I'm not sure.
You're not sure what sin is?
I'm not sure.
Transgender people are not.
Did you just not say you're not sure what sin is? Of course you're not sure what sin is. Yeah, so you don't want to be sure what sin is if you're there, because you know this pastor, I believe he's a pastor, reverend, he's in ministry some way, shape, or form, and you know that he's gonna call you out on it.
Now in the mix, and they want if a man feel like a woman, he want to go into the woman's bathroom. If a woman feel like a man, they want to be able to go into the men's bathroom. Is that right? Should that be allowed?
So I think a couple thoughts about what you said. I don't think that transgender people are now in the mix. I think transgender people have always been around. I think they've been around throughout history. And I think the reality is people want to pass a law saying, oh, hey, like, we need to stop people from going into the bathroom that we're determining they shouldn't be in. But the reality is you're already using the men's bathroom with people who are transgender, just like people are already using women's bathrooms with people who are transgender. So is it right? I think that people should be able to use the bathroom.
I guess when you know, you know. I didn't know. Get out of here. Get out. I guess if you don't know, you don't know. All right. He said, well, we already sneaking and doing it. Why not make it make it legal? We've been sneaking and doing it for decades, for centuries. We've been sneaking and doing it. You know how many men have used the bathroom while your daughter was in the bathroom at the restaurant? Yeah, they've been doing it. Come on now, they've been doing it. That's might as well make it legal.
Is it right? I think that people should be able to use the bathroom that they want to use.
So you're saying, yes, if a man decides that he feels like a woman, you know, he's at a football game, had a couple beers, and he decides, you know what, I'm going into the ladies' bathroom. I feel like a woman right now. He should be able to go into that bathroom. He has a right.
I don't want to be combative, but I'm not going to answer questions that describe people in ways in which they're not. And somebody who is transgender is not just someone who feels like a woman on a particular day because they've had a few beers. I think that's disrespectful to transgender people. And so I'm not going to describe people in a way that is not accurate, because
so
I
let's
wouldn't
say
want
that you
people to
have
describe
men
me.
who feel like women.
Hold on, I want to say that I understand why she's standing on. Okay, I don't know if I'm misgendering this person. See, that's what I'm talking about, man. I feel bad for calling you she. Listen, are you ma'am or sir? Because I don't know what you want to be called. I came in late on the conversation. See, that's the danger. You come into it late on the conversation. What if I was there and I came and sit down next to them and joined the conversation, and I was like about to say something in favor of what she was saying? I'd be like, look, I honestly see where she coming from, Jesse. What she's saying is, and she looking at me like, bruh, I'm clearly he, or I'm they. You don't know. Why didn't you ask before you started speaking for me? I am us today. No, I don't. I'm just joking when I say that, but that's a big thing because when I went to the store a couple of times, went to go pick up some food for the family, and one time specifically, this young lady helped me out, was very nice, very like courteous and just on point. And I was like, "Thank you so much, ma'am." And after I said that, I felt so bad, like maybe she wanted to be called sir. Like I don't know. So right now, that's all the confusion that we're in right now. Y'all gotta listen. This person wants to explain to you all who don't quite understand or don't care to understand that other side. What Jesse Lee Peterson is saying is point blank, like spot on. It's spot on. But being that this person, oh my God, being that this person is in the community, they have, like, that's their family. That's their friends you talking about. That's their friend. Those are my family and my friends. And they're going to tell you more about the mindsets that maybe we don't understand yet. I don't know. Like a person just don't know. Don't just make up on that day that they are a girl and they want to go use the bathroom. That would be naive of this person to say, because there are people out there who do that. There are people out there who are taking advantage of this whole movement. There are many people out there who don't give a flying sugar honey iced tea what kid is in the bathroom or not. And if they want to go in there, they probably hoping that it's kids in there. I mean, we got to stick to reality too, but at the end of the day, this person that we're listening to speak with Jesse Lee Peterson, they're coming from a real place. And they want to explain to him and to us, people who don't understand, you know what I mean? How they really think. And in her mind, his mind, I'm gonna stop even referring to what's his name? What's her name? Ain't no name.
And they're dressing in women's clothing. They have identified as a transgender, full-fledged person. Should they be allowed to go into the bathroom of choice?
If I am a person who is transgender and I feel more comfortable and I feel more safe using whichever bathroom, then I should be able to use that bathroom.
And so the straight person doesn't have a choice in that, or say so. If they don't want that because they feel imposed upon, or let's say that my daughter is going into the women's bathroom, but here is a transgender man who feels like a woman going into that same bathroom, do I have a right to say, no, this is not going to happen for the protection? And
well, what's about to happen is that's not an answerable question for this person, because this person is knee deep, balls deep in the daggone LGBTQ community, right? So what you're asking them is to choose your feelings and your fears over their feelings and their fears. And they know that the right thing to say is, no, I should not do anything that I know makes you uncomfortable. That's the correct way to answer that, in my opinion. Do you have a right to not feel bad? No, that's feelings. Come on, we're talking about feelings here. Don't have a right to not feel anything or to feel something. But at the end of the day, when you're making someone uncomfortable, you have to answer these type of questions. So this is when you have an opportunity to be objective and speak up. I mean, answer as if, answer from the eyes or from the hearts and minds of those people who actually have these fears. Because if Jesse Lee Peterson is presenting this to this person, they have to understand right then and there that it's a real thing coming from a real place. So what she should first do, I'm just going to call her she, because I keep on messing up. What she should first do is acknowledge that fear and that point that he's making, but then go into your disagreement, because clearly they come from different sides. But where we F up in communications is that we don't show people across the table from us the same level of respect as you would like for them to show you. And when that happens, that breaks the discourse. Now it becomes very entertaining for somebody on the outside looking in, but it's not going to be productive when that happens.
The privacy of my daughter.
Your daughter has already used
No,
the
that's not the
bathroom
question. That's
with
not the
the
question.
transgender.
Answer that question.
Your
Should that be allowed if I'm against that for my daughter?
your daughter, and the thing is, in order for me to answer questions, you can't interrupt me. And I know that's been tough for you throughout this, but like I can't answer your questions if you interrupt me when I'm answering them. I don't know what your daughter does
she
in the
got
bathroom,
you.
but when I go to the bathroom, I have to pee or something else. And so I go into the bathroom, I go into the stall, I shut the door. And so what I'm doing in the bathroom isn't imposing on anyone else. It's taking care of my
But you are
bodily
imposing.
function.
If it's a man who dressed like a woman and my daughter is in that bathroom, this man, he may have in his own mind think that he's a woman when in reality he's still a man. I have a right to say, no, I'm not going to allow this to happen. And the transgender person doesn't have a right to impose on that. Because that's what the
Okay, in that you do have a right to protect your child. Like that's where he's talking about when he said him having the right. See, I misheard that the first time. If you have a child that you're afraid of going into a bathroom with somebody of the opposite sex, then that fear is like, I have a right to protect my family. Right now, I don't trust this situation right here, so I'm going to say something about it. That's going to offend somebody, but nobody cares at that point because we're talking about children right now, children and adults. If your answer is, well, they're already going to the bathroom with people of the opposite sex, they just don't know, and they seem pretty comfortable now, well, that's because they just don't know. They just don't know. They go in there with somebody with a full beard, you know what I mean, and the Adam's apple, but now you seeing breasts and that they got now, and you know what I mean, and they wearing the dress and stuff, and you're like, you about to send your daughter in the bathroom. Is some people aren't there yet. I would say yet, because there's so many people that are gaining understanding of the masses on a day-to-day basis. There's a great deal of people who are fighting against it. They understand it though, because they're not dumb. They understand it. They just don't agree with it. They're not buying into it the way that you are. You've purchased, you bought into it. It's who you are. But most other people, it's going to be a little bit more difficult than that.
radical movement, homosexual movement is freedom, right? And non-discrimination.
For the third time, I don't know what a radical homosexual is.
Should transgender people be fighting for transgenders' bathrooms rather than imposing on straight people?
Should black people be fighting for black bathrooms?
It's not the same thing.
But
it's a put down to associate being black with homosexuality.
Well,
it's a disgrace to black people who have died, black and whites who have fought for the freedom of black Americans based on skin color.
One of the great.
Yes, I will ask, please stop doing that. It's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same. Okay? It's not the same.
Down to do that.
One of the great African American, one of my great role models, Audre Lorde, said something to the impact of, there's no such thing as single issue struggles because we're not single issue people.
It's not a sin to be black, but it is a sin to be a homosexual because you can overcome homosexuality, but you cannot overcome being black. Just ask Michael Jackson; he never was able to overcome.
That's not an opinion. That's actual in the word. That's in the Word of God. Any religion that you go and read up on, it is a sin. It is, and I don't know why people are trying to act like it isn't, because they're saying, no, God makes mistakes, so it's not a sin. Or sugar honey iced tea, dude. He don't make no mistakes.
I don't think that most people are actually trying to overcome their homosexuality. And I think if we're actually looking at what these laws do, they are about so much more than bathrooms. It's about denying people public access. It's about jobs. It's about employment discrimination. It's about
none of that is true.
It is true.
What it is, in reality, homosexual people, especially the radical ones, are not comfortable with being homosexuals, and they don't want anything or anybody around them to remind them that they're wrong. And so that's why they're trying to impose themselves on Christian bakers and
Are
same
you-
bathroom, and
are you
because they
homosexual?
can't handle being wrong.
Are you homosexual?
No, but all sin create
but
conflict.
hold on. But if you're not homosexual, then you can't speak for a group of people.
I know what
because-
sin does for you.
But,
It creates conflict.
But you can't. I feel great being gay.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
It's not about your feelings. It is not about your feelings. He's not talking about feelings. He's talking about sin. Oh, no, I'm not supposed to cover thy neighbor, but I like their car. I'm going to take it. I'm going to covet because I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's what free will does, right? We pick and choose what we want to believe and what we want to follow and all those other things, but there's going to be a price to pay for that. And guess what? Sometimes you're not going to like pass away to the next, whatever the next is, in order to face that price that you have to pay. Sometimes the price you have to pay, you're going to face that while you're here with your peers and other people all the time, just from dirty looks or what they say and all this other stuff. That's just, it is what it is. Because some people still hold God's word to be something true. Some people. And they're going to ask you about it. And you can't give them, well, I feel great. So basically the next thing that comes after that is F God. I feel good doing it. I'm straight.
I feel fantastic.
You really don't.
I feel fantastic. I've had a smile on my face the whole time. I might be happier than you. I'm young. I'm successful.
Yeah.
I own a home.
That's
I
right.
found somebody I love. I have a great degree. I feel great. I've in no way. I have not felt like I need to
Congratulations.
overcome anything.
The one thing I can absolutely guarantee you, with all the successes that you've been able to gain, when you're alone by yourself, when no one is around to validate you, you're not being praised for your successes, reality kicks in, and you have conflict about being a homosexual. You're
I
not
don't.
happy with it.
I
I don't
don't.
care what you say. I know for a fact that
I don't.
that happens.
I'm
but I want to
sorry.
ask you about this.
I'm sorry to disappoint you.
No,
but
no,
I,
you're
but
not
I,
disappointing
I
me.
absolutely don't. I strive to be the person that I want to be a good person, to treat other people well, and to
That's
do
right.
things that
That's
help
right.
other people. I could go be a lawyer
But you're
and
not
make
being
thousands
honest
of dollars.
because the whole movement
No,
is
no, 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 no,
about
no, no, no. I'm-
imposing on heterosexual people.
But that's not true.
It is.
And it is not only is it homophobic, but it is sexist for you as a man to tell me as a woman that I
I'm
am
not falling for
but,
that.
But,
Don't
but,
go there
but
with
that I
me.
am. But that
Mansplaining. Are you trying to mansplain me? I was clear in saying that I have no problems being a lesbian, and you trying to mansplain me.
I am
That's not going to work.
That I'm not smart enough to know how I feel
No.
in my darkest, quietest moments.
You're not honest about the conflict.
But if you told me this is how I feel, I would respect you enough as a person to say, okay, I believe you, because you have no reason to lie to me.
No. I know how sin works. And
But-
when we are living in sin, we have no peace. That's why we have to always find things to do.
But I don't feel as
And-
though I'm living in sin. I'm being open and honest with myself.
Okay, I accept it. You're honoring 3 co-founders of the Black Lives Matter movement, is that
Uh-huh.
right? Tell us about the event and what you're doing.
So the National Center for Lesbian Rights is a civil rights legal organization, and every year we have a summer gala, and it's coming up next weekend on Saturday in San Francisco. And the 3 young women who started Black Lives Matters are going to get an award. And I think for us, it's important as an organization. Back to the issue, that I said that there's no such thing as single issues, because we're not single issue folks. It's important for us to realize in the LGBT community that as long as anybody is being oppressed, then we will never have full equity, full equality. And so it's been really inspirational to watch these 3 women really change the way we talk about race as a country and be fearless in their fight for justice.
Black Lives Matter is an agitative, radical, evil group of people. They're worse than the KKK. Why are you guys honoring them?
I don't think that in asking that people respect our lives, that you can ever equate them to the KKK.
No, they're worse than the KKK. You don't see Black Lives Matter in the hoods. If they truly cared about black lives, why don't they go into those areas and stop the black on black crime? These people are not they're not very, you might not be aware of this, but they're not honest people.
I think I'm more aware than you give me credit for, but again, it's because I think you're a little condescending, but it's okay. I won't hold it against you. But
How am I condescending? By telling the truth?
Because of time, we cannot go into it.
You are helping two lesbian transition a daughter by the name of Raylan into a transgender boy, and you're giving them a courage award. Is there courage in doing wrong?
I think there is courage in living openly. I think there's courage in living freely. And I think there is courage in loving your children unconditionally and supporting them no matter who they are.
So you don't think that is easy?
So is what they're not saying, what she's not saying, is that all of the courage and you're strong and you're so powerful and all those things have nothing to do with God. So it's completely separate of what God wants. It's all about having the courage to be able to live in this life amongst these people and not care or not be bothered by the judgment of those people outside, not to even hear them like, I'm good. And then not realizing that, it's like once the child is at an extremely young age and they tell you what they want and what they want to be, you believe that by acknowledging that and doing what they want and not coming off as a hypocrite, you're going to support that 1000% because you don't want to come off as a hypocrite. Also, you don't really care to go by, the wishes of God when it comes to that. You say with everything else, listen, God, we're going to negotiate here, all right? Okay, cool. Because everybody else negotiate. That's how they look at it. Like, everybody else negotiate with God. I know many Christians who do this and do that and do this and do that, but they still don't get put down because they in church praising God. Now, why? Simply because I got to have a lifestyle of my own that, that I can't do what they doing. What's the difference? What's the difference? The difference is, this is something that people don't understand. The difference is, free will is not the same as telling God that he made a mistake, all right? Free will is not the same as telling God he made a mistake. If you have a daughter and you tell that daughter that I am going to help you become the boy that you were supposed to be and that you feel like you are, then you're telling God that he made a mistake, because deep down inside, you know that that's your baby girl. But because you want to let them do what you're doing, and you don't want to come off as a hypocrite, you're accepting it and you're encouraging it and you're giving them awards for you. Like you're celebrating it. It's like any other sin. If somebody do a sin, are we going to celebrate it? Sometimes we do. Like when we listen to the most gangsters music in the world about somebody doing nothing but sinning, we party. Oh, he's sinning to the beat. Like we hear about nothing but sinning in songs, and it sounds so good to us because it's a dark world that we get to experience without having to experience it. We get to hear their stories about bullets flying without having to be close to them bullets that are flying. And it's exciting. It's almost like watching a movie. We get to see that excitement right there. You know what I mean? But we're gonna have people to answer to, no matter what our sins are. That's the thing that people don't understand, man.
Evil for parents to transgender this little girl before she's old enough to make her own decision into a boy. You don't think that's evil?
It's hard to answer your question. First of all, transgender is not a verb. You can't transgender someone.
I mean, why not wait and let this kid grow up to make her own decision? What's the rush?
If you don't know this kid, then you can't, you literally cannot speak to what this child feels in their heart. You can't speak to what this child is experiencing. We are losing transgender youth every day at an astronomical number. And so the rush, the urgency is not losing another life.
Well, the reason that they're losing their lives because they have conflict within themselves due to sin, and no one is helping them to overcome that.
But you don't
Rather
know that.
than dealing with that, they're trying to change the body parts and make Christians accept it.
We're losing them because they're surrounded by people who are full of hate instead
That's
of full
not
of
it
love.
at all. That's not true.
And-
Absolutely not true.
But
and
we
that's
can
the
agree
thing
to
that the
disagree.
radicals use. They say, oh, you're discriminating. Christians have a right to disagree, just as the homosexuals have a right to disagree. But
And
you
so we
agree
can't-
with a parent that would take their little child and change the body part
I agree with the parent who
on
would
that
love their
child,
child.
from a girl to a boy.
I agree with the parent who would love their child.
That's not love.
Because I've been.
That is not love.
In your
I know
opinion.
love.
In
That
your
is
opinion.
not love.
Because
if
you
they
haven't treated me with love today. I don't know that
I'm
you know
giving you
love.
total love. You're not having fun?
I disagree. It might not be
You
fun.
look like you're having fun.
Because I'm a nice person and because I have
You
very
are.
cute dimples. And so I always look like I'm having
That's
a good
right.
time.
I want to ask you about Kurt, is it Schillings?
Schilling.
Yeah, he worked for ESPN
Mm-hmm.
and he posted a meme on Facebook where he had this big bully guy dressed in drag and said something like, would you want this guy to go into your daughter's bathroom? He was fired for that. Was ESPN right in firing him for expressing himself on his own Facebook page?
I think once you decide to be an employee for a company, you have to know their rules. And when Kurt Schilling decided to work there, he decided to follow a certain code. And I applaud ESPN for not allowing somebody to spew hate.
So if I have
That only works. See that right there? When you decide to work for a company, you decide to follow a certain code. So when you break their rules, they have a right to get rid of you, or they have a right to tell you that the way your hair is, you're not going to be able to do that here. And no, it is not racism. See what I just did there? Because a lot of people like to say, well, we like to use things for our argument, but when it's against us, no, we don't want to accept it. It's just the most ridiculous thing ever, man. And it's going to we're not going to be able to gain any ground right here, man. Like, we want them to draw near and have more of an understanding of each other, but the more we try to just, oh, I know of an excuse I can use. That's why you got defense and the defense and attorney and the prosecution, because they're all playing this daggone chess game, man. Talk, have a conversation.
at a
bro.
bakery and I said, men are not allowed to come to work dressed in drag, and if you do, you get fired, and some guy or woman tests that. I, as a Christian bakery, have a right to fire them, right?
Where your example is different is that is discrimination. Kurt Schilling was not discriminated against. He was not treated differently because of his participation in a protected class, which is the law. I remember I'm an employment lawyer. So he was not in a protected class, and he was not treated differently for his role in that protected class. That is different than
So
treating
if I had
someone.
a business and my policy is that you can't come to work dressed in drag, no matter whom you are, you dress in drag, you're out of here, would I be right in firing the drag queen?
Kurt Schilling was not in a protected class, and also they did not treat him differently. They treated him the same way they treated everyone.
That is a shame. So I'm okay with people being homosexuals or whatever they want to be, because that's up to the person. I just don't like when they're imposing it upon, like with the bathroom thing for transgenders, with the bakers. But as far as being what you want to be, you have a right. Even God let you be what you want to be. He's not going to force you to change. And so I have no right to make that judgment either. I just think that Christians have to fight back when these people are imposing on them, or changing the laws and putting you out of business and things like that.
I'm okay disagreeing. I'm good.
Well, I appreciate you coming. Did you have fun?
No,
You didn't have fun?
no. I've heard it's a sin to lie, so I won't lie. I didn't have fun. I think this was in many ways personally damaging to me.
In what way?
But I'm happy that hopefully I answered some of your questions.
No,
and
you
hopefully
represented
had
yourself
fun.
very well. You did well. Don't worry. You did good.
Thanks.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Yeah, that was good. And honestly, I want to hear what y'all guys say about this in the comments below. If you have yet, not that, but this video we just watched, in the comments below. And if you have yet to hit that subscribe button, please make sure you do so on your way out the door. Once again, guys, I'm Van, and now we are all the LFR family. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video, hopefully inside the Patreon as well. Y'all have been amazing per usual, man. Love y'all. Bye.